I feel today? Ask yourself this question.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! And let's go to the house! And let's go to the house!
When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
Football is getting hit. That's it.
It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We ready? And let's go to the house. And let's go to the house.
We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how like we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up your chin strap.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from them.
He's a man. He can be hit just like us. He's a man.
You already make the big money.
He's a man.
Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's war out there.
When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like.
Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world.
What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We ready? And let's go to the house. And let's go to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
Now, this game is not over. It's just getting started right here on the lunch break. Powered by JM&E, streaming live on ROKU TV, courtesy of BS3 TV. Listen, I'm not in the studio today. In fact, I'm on a shoot and about to wrap things up down here in Galveston. And hey, listen, on my way back, but had to jump on real quick. When I tell you this is going to be a fast break edition of the show, it will be a fast break edition of the show. As we came on the air today, got news that Jimmy G is no longer available in the NFL. Jimmy G on his way to the not to the Raiders. Jimmy G is on his way to the Raiders. That's right. He is on his way to the Raiders. I know Houston Texans fans wanted him to follow head coach DeMeco Ryans to Houston. I would have been very happy if they had gotten Jimmy G to go along with one of those awesome young quarterbacks that they'll have a chance to pick at number 2. But Jimmy G on his way to the Raiders, and we'll see how that works out for them there. Wish him nothing but the best. Houston media, y'all are trash, man. Some of y'all, let me be fair. Some of y'all are trash. People are digging up again the fact that Lovie Smith led his team to a victory in Week 18 of the NFL regular season when they beat the Indianapolis Colts, and they feel like that cost them the number 1 pick in the draft. And now the Chicago Bears have traded that number 1 pick to the Carolina Panthers, and Carolina is more than likely going to select one of the top quarterbacks in the draft. They're either going to select Bryce Young, they're going to select C.J. Stroud, or they're going to select Anthony Richardson. So now the Houston media, some are running the whole theory that because Lovie led the team to a victory in that final game, that the Texans are now forced to have their history, their game plan designated by the Carolina Panthers because they now have the number 1 pick. Listen, y'all just want some drama. Y'all just want to create problems where there is not. Again, I'm not talking to everybody. I'm just talking to the specific folks who are making that a story. You're ignorant. It's dumb. It's weird. Stop it. Here's how it works. Carolina picks Bryce Young. You take C.J. Stroud or Anthony Richardson. Carolina takes C.J. Stroud. Then you take either Bryce Young or Anthony Richardson. Carolina takes Anthony Richardson. Then you take either C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. Shut the hell up. You've got the number 2 overall pick in the draft. This is why I have a problem with not just the Houston area as a whole, but some of the media and some of the fan base. And if you dare try to come for me and say, listen, if you don't like Houston that much, then leave. I almost cuss. Good God Almighty, I almost cuss. Some of y'all Europeans better catch yourselves, because that all that leave stuff that you like to throw out of your little mouths, you can go back to where your European self came from, because you are not a Native American. You are not an indigenous person. You can be sent back to your little country too, that you have no ties to. Here's the deal. Some people love their cities and their states and their countries so much that they want them to be better. If I went to any one of those reporters that are making a story out of this and said, hey, for the sake of the network, or for the sake of your paper or your magazine, write a bad story so that you can get the #1 pick coming out of college, write a horrible story, they'll look at you like you're crazy. So you mean to tell me if you won't let anybody tell you to write a bad story, you feel like you are entitled enough to tell a coach to lose games? Yeah, he got fired, and yeah, he was probably going to get fired anyway. But the man went out a winner, and that mattered to him. Don't give a damn if it didn't matter to you. It mattered to him. The Houston Texans still have the #2 overall pick in the draft, with at least 3, possibly 4 top quarterbacks coming out of. You mean to tell me you can't figure out your life at #2? Then you don't need the job. You don't need the job as a broadcast journalist. You don't need the job as a writer. And you definitely don't need a job as a GM if you can't figure out your life with the #2 pick with at least 4 legit franchise quality quarterbacks coming out. The Texans will be just fine. And if they're not, it will not be DeMeco Ryans' fault. It will be because of the general manager, who will now, for the 3rd draft in a row, come up short. If he blows this at #2, it don't have nothing to do with Lovie Smith. It's all him. All right, let me take my first break. I'll come back, and then we'll get ready to wrap this thing up. When I say this is a fast break edition of the show, it is a fast break edition of the show. And if I offended anybody by calling them Europeans, get over it.
Alicia.
You can't hold somebody to that standard if you haven't voiced what you want and what you're needing from that.
Mika.
If you're not communicating expectations, you're waiting for your feelings to be hurt.
Nicole.
Yeah. A lot of people don't want to take the time out to be alone and to get themselves together.
Ivan.
You got to be willing to work through stuff. And from the jump street, y'all done had problems. Maybe you don't need to be working through those.
BS3 Network proudly presents Queen 3 and King podcast, live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. There's a 100% chance of a laugh thunderstorm. 4 men with different viewpoints take a movie, show, or documentary and review it uncensored, unfiltered, uncompromised, with no holds barred. Join BS3, Wilkes, King Doc, and H-Rap B as they take on Hollywood their own way. BS3 Network proudly presents The Forecast, where H-Rap B always predicts,
if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.
live every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
When the man said that Sharifa Barksdale is on the verge, she's getting ready to set the world record. And I lost concentration and I followed that hurdle. I was devastated.
Posición game ball de Canadá, dominando la prueba, y la estadounidense Sharifa Barksdale está en.
When I fell over that hurdle, it ended my career. And then all of a sudden, my coach grabs me by the throat. And I was going through some paperwork and seeing that he had spent 10 years in prison. And I was just like floored. It turned to domestic violence. I was terrified. So if I left, I don't know if I was going to die. My family didn't know if they was going to get a phone call to say that Sharifa was dead.
Yeah, I said pretty. I said a vehicle took a shot at me. Southbound on East 95th.
Broke the U.S. record in the 400-meter hurdles. represented the United States of America.
Imagine being on the biggest, fastest roller coaster that you have ever been on. That's the way my life was for 20 years.
I never had no trouble out of her being what she wanted to be. Because if this is what she wanted to be a runner, well, God bless her, and he did.
All right, that one's going to be coming through soon. That one's going to be coming through soon, man. So I'm really looking forward to that. And again, I want to appreciate the BS3 network. If you got a Roku streaming device, just download BS3 TV. Download BS3 TV from your Roku streaming device, and you can check out those good shows like Man Talk Monday, The Forecast, and of course tonight at 7 o'clock, you can check out Queen 3 and King podcast. So, all right, let me get back to it. It is bracket time. It is March Madness. This is my favorite postseason tournament in sports. Yep, over pro football, definitely over college football, definitely over Major League Baseball, even over NBA basketball. It is March Madness for me. Didn't say for us, I said for me. So let's real quick get to the brackets. Of course, your number one seeds are Alabama, the University of Houston, Kansas, and Purdue. And of course, we've got play-in games. Coming up. Let's see, tomorrow. No, I'm tripping. Tonight. You've got two play-in games tonight. You've got Texas A&M, Corpus Christi against Southeast Missouri. You got Mississippi State against Pitt tonight. And then tomorrow, the early game will be Texas Southern versus Fairleigh Dickinson, and then Arizona State versus Nevada. So again, you got play-in games starting tonight and then going through tomorrow. And then in the eyes of our Lunch Break Weekly, Keeping Up with the Joneses bracket challenge, you got to have your picks done by Thursday. I've got to have your picks done by Thursday because the brackets will be locked out. So if you have not completed your bracket, if you don't have the bracket link, reach out to me, 832-403-5005, or email me, aj@jonesmediaandent.com, and I will send you your brackets link. So you got to have the brackets. Each person gets to do two. And don't forget to do the tiebreaker for the final score. And then you have a chance to win $500 cash like Miss Pearl did in the Lunch Break Weekly Keeping Up with the Joneses Pick'em Challenge for football. All right. So again, let me get your brackets and do your best off the top of your head bracket, and then do your upset bracket, and let's get it. I do have some upsets in these brackets. Let me kind of look through. I've got West Virginia, number 9 seed, beating Maryland. I've got College of Charleston with a possible upset. They're 12 over San Diego State. I got that happening. I'm real concerned about Indiana, a number 4 seed, and Kent State. Very concerned about that one. Creighton and North Carolina State. Creighton is a 6 seed. North Carolina State is an 11. That could easily be an upset. Number 3, Xavier taking on Kennesaw State. That could be an upset. Texas A&M, number 7 versus number 10, Penn State. That one could be an upset. I don't think number 2, Texas is going to have any problem with Colgate. I don't think Arizona is going to have any problem with Princeton, but you never know. All right, let me go down in one of the other regions. Let me see. This is, hang on. Keep an eye on Virginia Commonwealth. Another one that would really shock y'all is number 5 Duke versus Oral Roberts. Keep an eye on that one. Memphis and Florida Atlantic could be an upset game. I sincerely hope number 4 UConn does not lose to Iona, because we will never hear the end of Rick Pitino, a man who should not be leading kids, period, based on what he did at Louisville, and here he is. If he knocks off number 4 UConn, oh my goodness. Let's see, Gonzaga and GCU. Watch out. Watch out. I know everybody loves Gonzaga this year because they're not a number 1 seed, but baby, GCU has some players. Keep an eye on number 10, USC versus Michigan State. That could be an upset. All right. That could be an upset. So just some upsets to throw out at you, possibilities for upset in these upcoming games. So that's what I wanted to jump in real quick. Free agent quarterbacks. We already talked about Jimmy G going to the Raiders. I know a lot of folks are still trying to keep an eye on the quarterback from Green Bay. Where is he going to go? If you know, like I know, if you're Jets fans, man, let that dude stay right where he is. Do not take on somebody else's problems because they might be worse for you than they were for them. Tell people all the time, man, you trying to take somebody else's husband, somebody else's wife, baby, be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. So we'll see. We will see. What else do I want to talk about today? I know a lot of folks are talking about the young man for Alabama and whether or not he should still be playing Miller. Probably going to be the college basketball player of the year, all that kind of good stuff. It's as simple as this for me. He's not charged with anything. Yeah, he had very, very poor decision-making. I would stand by the school if they had suspended him, because you've had kids that have been suspended for a lot less. You've got kids that have been kicked off the team for a lot less. Somebody died as a result of his bad decision. I mean, if nothing else, why don't you call your coach? Why don't you call one of your parents and say, hey, listen, man, this guy's asking me to give him this gun that he left in my car. What do you think I ought to do? He took it upon himself as a grown person, young man, took the gun to the person that owned the gun. The person that owned the gun then gave it to the person that shot somebody. And now somebody is dead, which makes it bigger than basketball. If the school had suspended him right away and then brought him back in time for March Madness, I wouldn't have a problem. I would say that at least there was some consequences for his actions, but for there to be none, for them to know about what happened a full month before it was released to the public, for the head coach to get out in front of it and try and say wrong place at the wrong time, for us to just get our first statement from the young man, a week ago, it feels bad. It does. It feels very bad. I'm not rooting for the University of Alabama in any way, shape, size, or form. I know that doesn't matter for any reason. But personally for me, I would have told the young man, this is bigger than basketball. We're just going to sit you down for, a period of time and then see how this plays out and go from there. No, you're not guilty of anything. If you want to transfer, you're welcome to do that, But at some point, man, you got to make this stuff bigger than a sport. You got to make it bigger than a game. And I know that there are millions of dollars from endorsement deals to, viewership and TV deals, SEC network and all that. But again, God dog, the fact that some people can go to sleep at night knowing that you might not have done the right thing, that's a little scary to me, but that's the society that we live in right now. So that's my 2 cents. It's my 2 cents. If I was a head coach, if I was athletic director, if I was school president, sorry. Talk to his family. Sorry, I get it. I understand. I wish he had called one of us before he made the decision, because look at what happened as a result of the decision. And I'm telling you now, if I'm her parents, the young lady's parents, wrongful death lawsuit against him, against the guy who got the gun, definitely against the person who shot him. And I'm throwing the name of the school and the head coach in there as well. I'll let a judge decide who to keep on the lawsuit, but I'm throwing all of them in there because to me, all of y'all had too much involved in my daughter's death. I'm just saying. You got to agree with me. These are not our opinions. These are mine on my show. Take a break. Be right back right after this on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV.
What do you get when you watch or listen to the Life Happens podcast? Well, I'll let them tell you.
Kim and I are both ministers of the gospel, and Life Happens podcast is a beautiful balance by simply taking our spirituality with real life and merging it together to create a beautiful balance. And that's what we do.
BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens podcast, where Christianity and life intersect. Live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central.
That's why we here on this platform.
Marriage, a loving splendor, a daily grind. Such is the case when Damien and Jamie get together and chop it up, for marriage is real.
Let's just lay it all out here. Let's just be real with it.
Join this wonderful couple who keeps it real and always in love. BS3 Network proudly presents Marriage is Real, where love is the only thing that matters. Live every Tuesday at 8:30 Central. Oh, and Jamie has something to say.
Deuces and trays.
Deuces and trays. That's the Marriage is Real podcast. And you can check that on the BS3 network. If you don't have a Roku streaming device, just download BS3 network, BS3 TV, or go to the website, bs3network.com. That's bs3network.com. Hey, Erica with a K, good afternoon to you. Ahmad said he should not play. I agree. He says, yes, sir, you're right. And look at what Bama did with Bill O'Brien coaching those young men. Hey, listen, Bill O'Brien is back in the NFL as an offensive coordinator and probably will be a head coach again one day, which is crazy to me, which is absolutely crazy to me. Let me talk some NBA, and then I'm ready to go. Last night, the Pistons beat the Pacers. Grizzlies winning again, beat the Dallas Mavs 104-88. And then it was the Timberwolves all over the Hawks, 136-115. Miami over Utah, 119-115. And then you had them Houston Rockets, baby. Them Houston Rockets, 28 from Jalen Green, 24 from the Rook at Jabari Smith Jr. They got by Boston, 111-109. Milwaukee still rolling, 133-124 over the Sac Kings. And then, of course, you had them nasty Golden State Warriors beating the Phoenix Suns 123-112. That being said, let's look at the standings right now. Let's see. They play 82 games. Milwaukee is in first place, 49-19. They're 2.5 up on Boston, who suffered that L last night from the Rockets. Number 3, you got Philadelphia. Number 4, Cleveland. Number 5, Brooklyn, minus KD and Kyrie. Number 6, you've got the New York Knicks. Number 7, you got Miami. And number 8, you got Atlanta. Of course, you'd have Toronto and Chicago as part of the play-in if the season ended today. Denver still number 1 in the West. They're 4.5 up on Memphis. Everybody keeps talking about Golden State, rocking Memphis. Memphis still number 2 team in the West. And oh yeah, by the way, they're a full 6 games up on Golden State. So, all these shots and jokes and, oh, look, you killed him. Dude, you 6 games back behind the team you talking about. Sacramento still holding in there at number 3. Number 4 is Phoenix. Number 5, Golden State. Number 6, the Clippers. Number 7, Minnesota. Number 8, Dallas. And of course, the Lakers and New Orleans would be a part of the play-in if it were to end today. So that's what you got in the NBA. What else I got? Do I have anything else? Because I'm really about to get out of here. Yep. All right, let's get out. Let's go. Congratulations to Alcorn. Some of the HBCU folks kill me. Alcorn has been invited to the NIT. The women of Jackson State have been invited to the NIT. Morgan State, I believe, is also a part of the NIT. So glad to see some HBCUs getting some love in, a couple of the major postseason tournaments. Of course, you got Howard and TSU on the men's side. You got Southern and who got from the women in the MEAC? Who made it from the women in the MEAC going to the big dance? So anyway, very proud of those HBCUs. Hey, Tavonda, how you doing? Everybody's good on my side. All right, let me wrap this thing up, man. I got to go finish up this shoot and get on out of Galveston before my allergies get bad on this beach like they did when I was in Corpus Christi, man. I literally almost died trying to do my show out on the beach in Corpus Christi. So as always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it except join me here for Winning Wednesday tomorrow. Also, don't forget, if you do not have the link for the Lunch Break Weekly Keeping Up with the Joneses Bracket Challenge, text me 832-403-5005 or email me aj@jonesmediaandent.com so that you can get the link to the bracket, because you got to have your brackets completed by Thursday. There's no going past Thursday. I'm telling you, you got to do it before then, because they'll close them. I can't reopen them and you'll be left out. All right, y'all. Y'all be good. We'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Tuesday, March 14th, 2023. Number one, over the weekend, the Silicon Valley Bank, with its focus on business with tech startups, was brought to a standstill. Depositors at Silicon Valley Bank rushed to get information and often their share of the bank's $200 billion in deposits. President Biden sought to reassure the country that the American banking system is safe, along with plans to correct the wrongs, ensuring all depositors would have access to all of their money. Number two, Republicans are bracing for Senator Tim Scott's increasingly likely entrance into the 2024 presidential race, assuming that he would be the voice of unity in a party dominated by grievance politics. GOP analysts are unsure of Scott's chances, believing the conservative majority wants a candidate that echoes their thirst for a fight. Scott is one of 3 black senators and the only black Republican in the U.S. Senate. Number three, the House voted unanimously Friday to declassify U.S. intelligence information about the origins of COVID-19, a sweeping show of bipartisan support for the 3rd anniversary of the start of the deadly pandemic. By a vote of 419 to nothing, this was the first congressional approval of the bill, sending it to President Joe Biden's desk. It's unclear whether the president will sign the measure into law, and the White House said the matter was under review. Number four, Sheldon Thomas, a now 35-year-old black man, was wrongly convicted for the 2004 fatal drive-by shooting of a 14-year-old boy, Anderson Bursey, in Brooklyn, New York. Based on the witness's misidentification, police went to Thomas's address and arrested him. Detectives were intent on arresting the defendant and used the faulty identification procedure as a pretext, which led to Thomas being sentenced to 25 years to life in prison for second-degree murder. Number five, if you're planning to sell some investments this year, it's less likely to affect your 2023 tax bill. And here's why. The IRS made dozens of inflation adjustments for 2023, including the long-term capital gains brackets, applying to investments held for more than 1 year. Please check out the What You Need to Know newsletter for more information on this subject from our awesome CPA, Katrina M. Kraft. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Doing the right thing comes easy with practice. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with the men extraordinaire, comedian Damon Williams and producer Ahmed Gordon, as we discuss today.
When the man said that Sharifa Barksdale is on the verge, she's getting ready to set the world record. And I lost concentration and I followed that hurdle. I was devastated.
One of our hopes for the Olympic Games, Sharifa Barksdale from Tennessee, a fine intermediate
Posición game ball de Canadá, dominando la prueba y la estadounidense Sharifa Backsdale está en.
When I fell over that hurdle, it ended my career. And then all of a sudden, my coach grabs me by the throat. And I was going through some paperwork and seeing that he had spent 10 years in prison. And I was just like floored. It turned to domestic violence. I was terrified. So if I left, I don't know if I was going to die. My family didn't know if they was going to get a phone call to say that Sharifa was dead.
8910 radio, I said a vehicle took a shot at me. Southbound on East 95th.
Broke the U.S. record in the 400-meter hurdles. Represented the United States of America.
Imagine being on the biggest, fastest roller coaster that you have ever been on. That's the way my life was for 20 years.
I never had no trouble out of her being what she wanted to be. Because if this is what she wanted to be a runner, well, God bless her, and he did.
BS3 Network. Changing the way you watch TV.